The movie kicks off with a 12-year-old girl named Abigail. She's obsessed with ballet and spends most of her time practicing alone on stage. But outside that peaceful little theater, something way darker is brewing. There's a crew of 6 criminals watching her, and yeah, they're planning to kidnap her. After practice, Abigail heads home with her driver like she always does. But right before she gets to the house, a hacker breaks into her home's security system, letting 3 of the kidnappers slip in through the front door like it's nothing. A few minutes later, Abigail arrives home, heads up to her room, and tries to relax, totally unaware of what's coming. Suddenly, the kidnappers jump out, knock her out cold, and drag her into their van. They drive her to this old, abandoned villa, where the mastermind of the operation, a guy they call Mr. Number, is waiting. He's the brains behind it all. The crew takes Abigail to a room where they tie her to a bed while she's still unconscious. Now we get to meet the full team behind the kidnapping. 6 people, all using code names. There's Frank, who acts like the leader, but mostly just screams and curses. No one's really sure what his actual job is. Joey, who used to be a medic. Dean, the getaway driver. Peter, the muscle of the group. Sammy, the hacker. And Riddix, the sniper. They're all strangers to each other, and we're told never to share real names or pasts. This job's only supposed to last 24 hours. They even had their phones taken to keep everything super secret. Mr. Number tells them the hardest part is over. Now they just need to keep an eye on the girl. When Joey asks about Abigail's father, he tells her the guy's loaded, and that soon he'll be out $50 million. Once the ransom is paid, each of them walks away with $7 million. Easy money, right? Mr. Number leaves and tells them he'll be back in exactly 24 hours. Later that night, the group starts drinking, except for Joey. She says she can't stay long. She has to get back to her son. Meanwhile, Dean starts trying to guess everyone's backstory, like it's some kind of game. But Joey shuts him down and says he's way off. The others make a bet, saying Joey probably could figure out everyone's real background just by looking at them. And she totally nails it. She says Frank used to be a cop. Peter was in the mafia. Sammy came from a rich family and only does crime for fun. She even admits she used to struggle with addiction. And Frank, she says he's always been kind of a fool and used to be even worse. Frank doesn't take that well, but Joey changes the subject and goes to check on Abigail. Turns out, the girl's already awake and terrified. Joey gently takes the blindfold off, and Abigail whispers that her wrists are hurting. So Joey unties her and tries to calm her down. They start talking, and Joey tells her she has a son the same age. Abigail, still shaking, says she thinks she's going to die. Joey reassures her. As long as she stays calm and her dad pays up, she'll be fine. She even promises not to let anyone hurt her. But then Abigail quietly says something that really shakes Joey. This whole thing, it's pointless. My dad doesn't even care about me. Joey's face drops. She wasn't expecting that. She heads downstairs and tells Frank what the girl said. He pauses, thinking, and wonders if maybe her dad is actually a dangerous man. He asks Joey if she knows who the guy is, but she says no. Frank decides to go talk to Abigail himself. What he doesn't realize is, her blindfold is already off. So when he walks into the room and sees her looking right at him, he panics, pulls out his gun, and asks if she saw his face. Abigail just stares at him and calmly says no, but Frank doesn't believe her. He keeps pressing Abigail until she finally tells him her dad's name, Christoph. The second Frank hears that, he freezes. Then he storms downstairs and tells the others he's leaving. Everyone's confused, like, what's going on? That's when he drops the bomb. The girl they just kidnapped? She's the daughter of Christoph, one of the most dangerous crime lords in the entire underground world. Suddenly, the group is in panic mode. Joey suggests they call anonymously and walk away from the whole thing. But Frank is convinced Abigail saw his face and could identify him. So his bright idea? Kill her. Joey shuts that down hard. She reminds them of the prize, $7 million each. After some hesitation, they all agree to continue the job. Meanwhile, Dean's wandering around the creepy old house. He stumbles into a dark room filled with old photos. One of them shows a girl who looks exactly like Abigail. Weird, right? He keeps exploring, ends up in the basement, and suddenly, the door swings open on its own. He freaks out, tries to run, but something or someone drags him inside. Upstairs, Sammy hears his scream and rushes to check. What she finds is straight out of a nightmare. Dean's lying there dead, and his head has been completely severed from his body. She screams, and the others come running. Everyone's horrified. That's when Joey remembers something terrifying. Christoph has a personal assassin, a killer known for one thing, decapitating victims. The scene flashes back to a story. Not long ago, 3 major gang members in New York were captured by the FBI and held in a heavily guarded hotel room. But the next morning, agents found all 3 dead, beheaded, with parts of their bodies missing. Even weirder, the room had just one door, one window, and it was on the 23rd floor. Impossible, right? The gang starts freaking out. They rush to check on Abigail, who's still unconscious, or so they think. Riddix, the sniper, starts losing it. He tries to leave, leave, but when he opens the door, he finds a metal wall blocking the exit. They all try every window, every door, nothing opens. And worse, their attempt triggers the house's full lockdown mode. They're trapped. Joey runs to Abigail and starts asking questions. She wants to know if anyone besides the man with glasses, Frank, has been in the room. At first, Abigail says no, but then she changes her story. She says that man with the glasses told her not to tell the truth, or he'd hurt her. Then she writes something down. She says that guy doesn't just work with her father. His real name is Valdez. Joey's stunned. She storms off to confront Frank, but before she gets far, she hears a noise. She turns and sees Riddix standing there, frozen and in horrible shape. He's bleeding, badly injured. He tries to say something, but collapses and dies in her arms. Next thing we know, Joey gathers the whole group and accuses Frank of being Valdez, the infamous assassin. She tells them what Abigail said and swears he's the one who killed Dean and Riddix. But Frank isn't having it. He says Abigail's lying, trying to manipulate and divide them. He looks fed up and tells Peter to just end it and shoot the girl. Peter lifts the gun and fires, but Joey jumps in just in time and stops him. Things erupt. Everyone starts arguing whether they should kill the girl or not. That's when Sammy notices something strange. Abigail managed to untie herself way too easily. Before anyone can react, Abigail suddenly transforms into a vampire. She attacks Peter and Frank with terrifying speed. Frank manages to shoot her right in the face, and for a second, it looks like she's down. But no, a few seconds later, she gets right back up, and now she's fully unleashed. She goes on a rampage, attacking everyone in sight. The gang barely manages to trap her in a room and lock the door. And that's when everything starts to make sense. All those impossible assassinations, the headless bodies, the fear around the name Valdez, it's all real. Because Abigail is Valdez. She's the legendary killer. And now they know she's not just a vampire. She's unstoppable. The crew starts scrambling, trying to come up with any plan. Garlic, holy crosses, silver bullets. Anything cliche. Sammy, bless him, runs off and brings back onions. He says they're basically garlic. He's clearly not a genius. Everyone but Joey heads out to face Abigail again. They find her dancing slowly, right next to Dean's lifeless body. Sammy rushes her with the garlic, but she catches him easily. Then she grabs Peter, slams him to the floor, and drives a stake straight into his chest. Blood everywhere. Frank tries to stab her with a wooden spear, but she snatches it from him and drives it right into his leg. He starts screaming in pain, cursing nonstop, completely defeated. The three survivors drag him downstairs to Joey, who starts patching him up. She tells them that even though Abigail seems invincible, there's still hope. She remembers something, the injection they used on her when they first kidnapped her. That might just be their only shot. So Joey comes up with a plan. If they can catch Abigail again, they'll inject her with that sedative they used before. Peter's the first one to try. He locks her in a room and makes a run for it. But it's no use. She breaks the door down like it's paper and starts chasing him while dancing ballet. Yeah, ballet, but make it terrifying. Then she runs into Frank and starts choking him out. Meanwhile, Sammy tries to step in, but Abigail throws her aside like nothing. In the middle of the chaos, Joey finally manages to inject Abigail with the sedative. And just like that, she drops unconscious. When Abigail wakes up, she finds herself locked inside a massive metal cage. That's when she drops the next big twist. The guy who hired all of them, Lambert, actually worked for her dad. This whole kidnapping was just a setup, part of a bigger plan. And now, she's planning to kill them all. Abigail starts revealing everyone's true identity, one by one. Sammy's real name is Jessica. Turns out she once stole from one of Kristoff's companies. Peter? His real name is Trends, and he used to run with a gang that stole from Kristoff too. Frank is actually Adam Barnett. And Joey, her real name is Ana Lucia. She was a former field medic whose career went downhill after she got addicted to morphine. Then Abigail explains something darker. Joey once secretly worked as an off-the-books medic. While high, she messed up a surgery and caused the death of a major figure in Kristoff's gang. Dean, the guy who died earlier, his real name was Shajel. Basically, Abigail, or Valdez, pulled all these people together to get revenge on behalf of her father. Then she makes an offer. If anyone helps her, she'll let them live. Peter actually falls for it and tries to set her free, but Joey doesn't hesitate. She shoots him right in the leg and has him dragged off for treatment. She then puts Frank in charge of watching Abigail. When they're alone, Abigail tries to manipulate him. She begs him to let her out, but Frank doesn't move a muscle, so she drops the act. She wasn't trapped. She was pretending the whole time, playing them all. She smashes her way out and attacks Frank. But just before she finishes him off, Joey shows up, breaks a window, and lets sunlight pour into the room. It burns Abigail's hand instantly. Frank and Joey take the chance and escape with the others to a library room, where they realize the sunlight from a certain window is actually protecting them. They decide to wait there until sunrise. Then Sammy suggests there has to be a power source somewhere in the house. house. If they can find and destroy it, maybe it'll shut down the whole security system and let them escape. Frank jokes, "What? You gonna unplug the whole house?" Which, honestly, was kind of a great line. They all agree and split up to search for the power core. Meanwhile, Abigail starts playing music again and takes control of Sammy, who had been bitten earlier. Sammy turns instantly, now a vampire under Abigail's command. She attacks Peter and kills him in the most brutal way imaginable. Then, under Abigail's control, starts dancing ballet. And not badly either. Joey and Frank show up just in time to see it. Sammy acts super weird, casually mentions Peter is dead, and starts laughing like she's completely lost it. The two of them bolt, and Sammy chases them straight back to the library. They duck into the sunlight again. Sammy tries to follow, but Joey redirects the sun's reflection with a mirror, burning Sammy alive, piece by piece, until she explodes into ash. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, a secret door opens behind the bookshelf. Joey and Frank slip through and find the control room. And guess who's been watching them this whole time? Lambert. He's been spying on them from the start. They try to take him down, but he's too strong. Because, of course, Lambert is a vampire too. And this is when Lambert reveals the full truth. He says Abigail was the one who turned him into a vampire 2 years ago. Since then, he's been forced to keep bringing her father's enemies to this cursed place. Sure, he's got insane powers now, but Lambert's miserable. He's tired of being their puppet. So finally, he makes a move. He offers Frank the chance to join him, become a vampire, help take over the empire. And guess what? Frank's all in. He doesn't even hesitate. Lambert shoves Joey aside and bites into Frank's neck. Frank lets him feed. That's how the transformation begins. Once it's done and Frank's officially a vampire, he tells Lambert he wants Joey to be his first victim. But Frank pulls a fast one. Just when Lambert thinks he's in control, Frank drives a weapon straight through his heart, killing him instantly. Blood everywhere. Frank then turns to Joey, completely consumed by his new power, and tries to kill her too. That's when Abigail shows up. A brutal fight breaks out, but now that Frank has vampire strength, he completely overpowers her. He drinks her blood, which weakens her dramatically. She collapses to the ground, security systems shutting down around them. She tries to crawl toward the exit, but it's locked. She's trapped. Frank finds her and starts tossing her around like a rag doll. His goal? Turn her into a vampire he can fully control. Barely hanging on, Abigail crawls over to Joey. She admits she's too weak to fight anymore, not against someone like Frank. He's stronger now, more dangerous than ever. So they make a decision, work together or die alone. But even with both of them teaming up, Frank's still too powerful. He grabs Joey, throws her across the room, and tells her that from now on, she's going to do whatever he says. He commands her to kill Abigail. Joey pretends to go along with it, slowly walks toward Abigail, then spins around and attacks Frank instead. Abigail jumps in too, and after one final, savage fight, they manage to overpower him. They stab him through the heart, again and again, until his entire body explodes into blood. Abigail turns to Joey, barely standing, and thanks her. She says that with Frank gone, she's finally free from the vampire curse. As for Joey, she's finally free too. She starts walking away from the chaos, ready to put it all behind her. But then, Christoph shows up, Abigail's father. He's furious, thinking Joey kidnapped his daughter. He goes in for the kill, but Abigail steps between them. She tells her father the truth. Joey saved her life. And for the first time, Christoph shows a sliver of emotion. Gratitude. He lets Joey go. The movie ends with Joey walking away from the mansion, her body covered in blood, finally escaping the nightmare alive.